Are you ready to go outside your comfort zone in 2025? So, who is ready to challenge themselves and accept that challenge? Today, with me, Dr. Jodi, and
Lily.
Lily, we're going to be talking about some of our own ways that we were challenged in 2024,
Mhm.
what we did, and some of the things maybe we didn't do and we wish we did. And then we're going to talk about what we are thinking about for 2025, what our limits have been, and why and how we might try to push past them, what might get in our way of pushing past them,
Mhm.
and just talk about that. So if you're joining us live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, please make a comment. Tell us about some of your challenges this year, what you're going through, what you wish you did and you didn't do, and let's talk about that.
Yay.
Yay, challenges. I think this idea of like getting more comfortable, being uncomfortable is really crucial to this time, because I think we
Mhm.
feel a lot of resistance to discomfort, especially in the US and especially young people, I would say.
Yeah. I think it's like there's like a line, right? I mean, you have to either be like you can't go too far, and that's what people are afraid of, but most people won't go too far. Like
Too
isn't
far,
there
like too many risks, too
yeah, I mean,
too
is
vulnerable.
there like a thing you can go too far and then you push yourself too far out of your comfort zone and then it's detrimental, or is it always good?
Well, obviously, if you like speed, if you drive 100 and are weaving in and out of traffic, yes, the risk of,
Yeah, you're
is that what
right.
you mean? Like
I
crashing?
guess, well, yeah, I guess that's obvious, but what, I don't know, because sometimes they all feel the same. Like sometimes it feels really dangerous. Like sometimes meeting new people can feel as dangerous as going faster on the highway or something,
Well, yeah,
right?
because it might be dangerous because you could get hurt, or you could be
Yeah.
rejected, or
Like let's
someone could
say
not,
like you're going on
or
a date and then you're like, oh, I could get hurt like last time or something. And then that feels really dangerous. So how do you know what's like good stepping out of your comfort zone and what's bad?
well, I think what's important always for me to recognize is that vulnerability itself is not dangerous. Vulnerability is only dangerous if there's danger around. So if you're exploring new relationships, we're social beings. We want to be in relationships. It's good for us. It's good for our body, mind, soul, longevity, health span, everything. It's we need to be in relationships. And so when it feels really risky or vulnerable to get in a new relationship because you're not sure if you could get hurt or someone's going to betray you or con you out of money, I don't know what, but there's a lot of scary things that could happen if you take a risk in a relationship. But there's so many benefits, and it's totally worth it. But you're not like going in blind and like just opening your heart to somebody like the first minute and you don't even know them. Like you
Yeah.
could take your time and observe and see what they're like. How do they treat other people? How are they treating
Yeah.
you? Like the consistency of their behavior. And what I always think, I mean, I didn't want this to be like I'm just teaching here. I really wanted to talk about ourselves. But, what I always say is, if you're starting a relationship, and whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, tell other people about it. Tell other people about those first interactions so you're not the only one making that assessment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes
Yeah,
it
you're
gets
right.
cloudy because they could love bomb you and it feels so good, but it takes somebody at a distance. You might be too close to it and it's so fun.
Well, yeah, but then what about like you can't sometimes you can't always tell like your sometimes it's nicer to keep like your friendships or your relationships intimate. Like how do you not like
Well, you don't have to do it from day one, right?
yeah,
So,
you're
yeah,
right.
we want to be intimate in relationships because that vulnerability, when you're safe, brings you closer. It brings you joy. It brings you, connection, all these things that we want. It brings you security. When you're
Yeah.
vulnerable, when you're safe, you feel more secure, actually. So there's
Yeah, I
benefits
guess
to
you're right.
it.
You don't need to like respect the privacy of I mean to an
I mean,
extent,
some
but
people
like
jump in 2 feet, like too fast, and they
yeah.
just trust this person implicitly. But that's a red flag.
Yeah.
If you see yourself doing that, like be like, wait a second. That's why I say always tell your friends in the beginning of any relationship what the interaction's like, because they might have enough distance to be like,
Yeah.
oh, this seems like love bombing here.
Mhm.
You know what love bombing is?
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what love
we
bombing
all
is.
know now. That was like not a thing like when I was young and but yeah,
What was it called?
we didn't, I don't know.
It wasn't
We
a
thought
thing
it was
ever?
great, we just thought it was great at the time.
Wait, what do you mean? Like it would end badly still, right?
Yes, but you didn't really connect in the beginning. So love bombing means when you're with somebody at the beginning of a relationship and they're so attached so fast and they make you feel like a queen of the world, and they just make you feel so good. It's called love bombing because it's not a secure attachment, right? There's this incredible attachment, and it feels so good, and then they start to criticize and be passive aggressive, and you're always trying to get back to that amazingness at the
Wait, does love
beginning.
bombing because I thought it always ended like does it ever end good? Or no, like
W-
it could just
I mean, it's a term, so there's different
yeah, but
degrees of it, of
is
course.
love bombing the term for when it turns later? Because some people are like that and might stay like that. Like every once in a while, you'll find someone that just like is very outward about their passion, probably, right?
Yeah, but they're secure. So like you could have love at first sight and you could get really close to somebody, but it's not creepy because it's mutual, and they're secure, and it's like fun, and like there's no other red flags. Like they're not trying to not let you be with your other friends, and they're not, they're
Yeah, I
not
guess so. But how do
they're
you know
not
if
like
they're secure?
starting to be passive. Well, because like quite right away, even when they're love bombing, they're already slipping those passive aggressive digs in.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It starts really subtly, and you can't really tell, and you think it's you a little bit, but it happens quite quickly. I mean, people don't love bomb more than, a few weeks. Sometimes it's a few months, but
Mm.
very rare. There's always some other clues. That's why you want your friends to know in the beginning of every relationship, even if it's another friend or it's romantic, make sure your friends are like reading those texts together and being like, what do you think about that? And that kind of thing.
Yeah, so like having friends is a way that you can safely step out of your comfort zone with like without feeling like you're taking too much risk about right?
Yeah, always stay connected to someone, right? So like hopefully it's not like you're starting, none of you are watching this are like born today, and
Yeah.
you don't have any friends, you're starting from scratch. Usually you have some people that you trust in your life, even if it's like one person, or
Mhm.
trust a little bit, that you could share the beginning of another relationship with and be
Yeah.
like, what do you make of this?
But in general, like what are other things you can do to step out your comfort zone? Like if you're facing your fear, like a fear of flying, then then like what are tools that you can use to help? I
Okay,
guess
well,
like
let's go
well
back a little bit and think about like why do we want to, what is a comfort zone, and why would anyone want to push past it? Like
okay.
how do you see a comfort zone? And I know it's different for everybody, but
I me?
yeah.
I feel like comfort zone, I don't know. I think it's like pretty self-explanatory, like what you're comfortable with.
Yeah,
It's like
okay, so
it's a
there's this
zone
like
of things
parameter.
that you can do in your life that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, it's like this
Yeah.
invisible barrier between what's really comfortable, and then outside of it,
Mhm.
it's like things that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And for some people, they do stuff that's uncomfortable and they find it thrilling in some ways, like jumping out of an airplane or
I would never do
riding a
that.
jet ski or
I
something.
will
Fair.
never
Yeah.
jump out of a plane. I don't like
I
planes.
did it once when I was your age.
I can't believe it because we are on planes together and we're both feeling a little nervous. And I can't believe you jumped out of it. I would never even be forced like I could never be peer pressured. I don't get peer pressured very easily, but no one could drag me. I will be unconscious if I'm about to be thrown out of an airplane
I know, I can't
or
believe I
it's
did.
going
I
down.
was 20 years old and I
Were you
did
so
that.
scared?
Yeah, I was so scared. I was so scared.
Did
I
you have
mean,
fun at all? You must have.
I guess so. I
You
can't remember. I
remember?
remember I remember seeing there was two of us. It was a teeny tiny plane. There was two of us. It was tandem, so like we were
That's
hooked to our instructor. But there was two of us, two pairs, and I was the second one out of the plane. We were like sitting on the floor of the plane. It's so tiny. It was like as big as my desk, barely, a little bit more. But and then I saw his face, like the passenger's face as he fell out of the plane. He fell backwards out of the plane, and I saw the terror in his face, and I like lost it. I was like,
Yeah.
What am
I
I?"
would be like, oh, never mind.
And so I was like, "Oh, it's like that roller coaster feeling, like, I'm like 30 seconds of free fall. We're doing 30 seconds of free fall." So I was like, "I'm gonna feel like that for 30 seconds. I think I'll pass out." But really, it was only when my velocity um, got regular, I stopped having the feeling in my stomach. So it was only
Yeah.
the first like second, and then because you're accelerating, and then finally you get to, what's that called? Like, when you're not accelerating anymore, you're at the same speed.
Maximum
Not
velocity?
maximum, like the same consistent velocity. I don't know. Like,
I don't
then for
know.
like 30 seconds, you're at the same you're free falling, but
Yeah,
you don't keep
it makes
accelerating.
sense.
Okay. So
So
then,
it could
then I,
change.
I got to like enjoy a little bit and look around. But yeah, that was,
Yeah, I would
and then
never
it
do
was
that.
like 5 minutes of with the parachute going the rest of the way. But, yeah, I mean, these are things you could
Well,
maybe do when
okay,
you're
so
20. I don't know.
what would you, were you already nervous about pl- planes like before that a little?
Yes. I
Oh
was
my God,
already
I would never
I
get
had
that
my
far.
very first panic attack on a plane ride to Australia. I was traveling to Australia, to study abroad, and I never had a panic attack before. Well, I did, when I was little. I wrote about it in my books, So I had a panic attack,
Oh, here they
but then
come.
for, like, a long time, I didn't have a panic there. Here's my books. Thanks, Lil. Um, for a long time, I didn't have panic attack, and so I wasn't even, like, familiar or afraid of having a panic attack, but I got on this plane, and I had the worst panic attack I've ever had, um, and then I was there for 4 months, and over that trip, the first couple days, I, like, couldn't eat and anything. I
Well,
was
that's
still
like a
anxious.
15-hour flight, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. But it was an adventure. This is the thing, is like, you could go outside your comfort zone. And I traveled there several other times because I studied narrative therapy. It's a kind of therapy, and I studied it in Australia. So I took that plane trip several other times in my life. When I was young, I don't remember being afraid of flying, but when I was an
Mm.
adult, after this, because I was 20 when I
Mm.
went, and after that, I was terrified, of flying. So still am, but I mastered it. Like, I still fly, and I do have a Face Your Fear of Flying, audio course. So if you ever really want to master your fear of flying,